Here's how we made this client $100,000 a day with Facebook ads. If you're new to the channel, you don't yet know who I am. My name is Justin and I'm the founder at paidadvertising.com, where we help businesses implement a scalable ad engine and grow e-commerce info businesses to 7 figures with paid ads. With that being said, we profitably generated well over $30 million in client revenue over the last few years, and let's get straight into today's video. So this is a special one right here. This is going to be a case study breakdown right here of the transformation that we've undergone through with one of our clients that led us to generating $100,000 in a day during Black Friday, Cyber Monday 2024. Okay, this was by far a record day for this client. I'm going to put a little screenshot on screen right now of the client DMing me on Slack and saying, hey, we collected $87,000 Canadian across the business payment plans with it, which if you count everything should come close essentially to about $100,000 generated for that given day. Now, let me give you some context. This was a client that came to us in August of 2024. That being said, I actually met up with this client in person, which is not something that I do that often, considering that we do work with a lot of international clients. That being said, this client was local to me, found me actually from YouTube, and that's he's been running profitably already a info product business selling digital informational products online for his business in the health and wellness space, if you will. So that being said, we ended up meeting, and what he was looking for mainly was on the one side a creative partner to just output a lot of creative volume, because he had been stagnating for a few months with creative production, because he was the one primarily coming up with all the new creative concepts. At heart, he was a media buyer. At heart, he was someone essentially that was already very knowledgeable in the ad space, but wanted outside help essentially to just dramatically increase this creative output, because he knew he needed that for the big season. So he kind of already came up and said, Justin, I want to be here for a few months. I want to be here for at least 3 months. I'm thinking about, from a September to November minimum, because this is our biggest time of the year and I want us to have time to ramp up to this big period. Now, I do want to say, and I'm about to get to the results in just a second, this was a brand new ad account that was given to us for security purposes. The client wanted to keep their own ad account separate from ours. And so the competition was on essentially from day one for us to be able to, number one, get our new ad accounts to actually have ad spend unlocked to it. Because if you make a new ad account, you'll get 50 to $100 a day max as a daily limit, which is what we were faced with initially. And so that was kind of playing against us at the start. And we had to, again, profitably ramp this up all the way to Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And so the first month of running ads, we only spent $5,000 because, again, we were limited by the amount of ad spend we could have daily. So we started off, and if I go back to one of the first days, which I believe is somewhere close to I think the 10th was that first day, like $30 spent on ads. Day 266, we had like 7 ROAS. Again, it's just slow ramp up from there. We were stuck at $60 for a few days. And I think the longest plateau we had was something like $100 or $125 a day, which we were stuck there for like weeks. But anyways, we ended up having the first month at about 2.26 ROAS. Creatives there, the first ever batch that we had was repurposed assets from the client. So just so that we could launch right away as soon as they got onboarded. And then about 2 weeks or so in, we started with our own ad creatives, which I'll get to in a second. That being said, we've already got great feedback from this first batch of creatives. In fact, what ended up happening is that the client told us, he's like, hey guys, I know you're capped by ad spend on your guys' ad account. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take some of the ad creatives that you've produced for myself and the team, and I'm going to scale them up on my own ad account, which I can spend tens of thousands a day. So we're like, all right, great. And so he did. So I'm going to play a very short clip right here of our client actually going through some of the results that he had while scaling up some of the creatives that we've made together on his account.
I thought I would make this video just to go over the ad account that's running in parallel with essentially the paid ads ad account, paidadvertising.com ad account. By the way, I'm wearing the shirt that you guys sent me, so thank you for that. Basically, if I look at, first of all, I want to do 3 things. I want to do the review of the ads that have scaled into our bigger campaigns. So essentially top of the funnel. I want to go back to the kind of Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And I want to show you my remarketing campaigns. And that includes the ebooks also that I ran, so the tools and templates. Okay, so let's start from the top, I guess. You see, I have, let's say in the last 2 days, and we can look at 7 days. These are the last 7 days. My art campaign has been performing exceptionally well at scale. I mean, at scale, and I'm saying $2,000 because I had these campaigns running at like $5,000 or $6,000, but it overwhelmed my team like completely. So what has been really working well as of recently is actually your ads that you've created. It's collaboration work, I really see it. But these ads, this ad particularly, the become an emotional artist, healing artist, I've ran it and as an existing post here, okay, and it's performing phenomenally well. It's giving me a 3.0 ad spend ROAS, and that's great. So if I look at the naturopathy, I've done essentially the same thing. And if I look at really like, and I could probably reopen some of these ad sets and markets, but here, see, this threw back my my naturopathy campaign into learning, if I'm not mistaken, or at least the USA one. Yeah, the USA ad set. So I guess like I know that some of the ads that are running in your ad account might not exit the learning phase just yet. Just rest assured that like I'm taking them and bringing them to the learning phase. And that what we need to be continuing to do is really creating new creative, new ad sets that are going to show some potential, and that when we're going to be we're going to be able to scale the budget in junction with my customer support team. But for now, I'm trying to optimize where the budget is being spent with the creatives that are winning and working. So we're going to give some more time on this one, but just want to show you that like this is super valuable, just being able to run these at this scale.
Là, nous, on a hit the genre premier $1 million last 30 days. Là,
Nice. So after actually fully recording this video, I am coming out with a very quick update that I wanted to add that I thought was important, is that I had a call with said clients who announced to me that they actually collected over $1 million in a 30-day window during the months of November, overlapping with early December. So that being said, I didn't want to throw this in here because this, I believe, makes this case study even better. So not only first 100K a day, but also first $1 million month for said client. So that being said, let's get back into the video. And so now if we look into second month right here, I'm going to go to October. You can see we already spent a lot more, $39,000. So what happened on a week over week basis? Well, let's look at every single week. So the week of the 15th of September, we spent about $1,700. The week after, about $2,000. Then the week after, about $3,000. And this is when things really ramp up. So next week onwards, right here, we are at $5,000, so almost double in ad spend. And I really want you to take some time to look into the ROAS here. That client's goal was to maintain close to 2x. Again, they're an info business. That said, they don't have huge cost of goods like an e-commerce business would, which allows them to go a little lower when it comes to the ROAS in itself. So he was like, scale up, so as long as you're kind of close essentially to 2x ROAS. Like, great, perfect, let's keep that in mind. And so we did. So again, first kind of week, if I go back a little bit right here to the early start of October, it was about $3,000 in ad spend, 2 ROAS. Now the week after, we have 5.7K in ad spend, so almost 6K in ad spend, 2.48 ROAS. Week after, we have 11,000 in ad spend, so you can see literally a double in ad spend, almost $12,000 in ad spend, 1.83. So a slight dip right here. 20th onwards, 1.41. Now we were starting to dip in too low. So we had a call with the client. We're like, hey, all right, look, we're scaling a little too aggressively here. Let's kind of pull back on everything a little bit. Now, the week after, nonetheless, we managed to optimize the account, $13,000 in ad spend. So still more spend and a higher ROAS, 2.31. And now Black Friday ramp up is about to start. So I'm going to get done through the ad spend ramp up period here. And I'm going to show you again, kind of our creative processes and so on and so forth that led to some of that. So we got a 3rd of November right here. Again, kind of maintaining the ad spend, but dropping ROAS to 1.43. The 10th onwards, very, very low week that we had during that time. So we pulled back in ad spend, as you can see, right before Black Friday. Now, the 17th to the 23rd, almost $30,000 in ad spend at a 1.9 ROAS. And then get ready for it. The week of the 24th to the 30th, $71,000 in ad spend at a 2x ROAS, which again, you can see we're really starting to ramp up right here. And if I include in there the period of the actual, Black Friday, Cyber Monday period itself, which would be all the way to the Monday, by $95,000 and about, give or take, let me see right here, from Sunday to Monday. So in about like 8 days, $95,000 at a 1.99. So pretty much bang on that KPI of having a 2x ROAS on the account, which if you holistically look into November in itself, we spent $130,000 at a 1.85 ROAS right here. Our highest spend days were respectively right here. So Friday, if you look at it, $12,827, which was actually the launch itself of Black Friday. And then if I look looking to the Monday, so the Cyber Monday itself, we actually spent more at $14,868 during that day for 2.32 ROAS. Now, although we spent a little bit more on Monday, the actual record day was on Friday itself. So November 29th was that day where we hit this close to $100,000. This is what we managed and what we spent on our account. The client also had an account which he scaled up quite a bit on his side. Nonetheless, from what we've gathered with the said client, like, we were profitable for that day in itself. So again, it was a great day overall. Now, if I open up my creative tracking sheet for this said client, so you can actually see that through this 3-month or so period, we tested close to 80 concepts on the account. So if we do, and again, I'm gonna do some quick math right here, although mentally I already know the number to some extent. We made about 26.6 concepts a month, which every week was about 6 to 7 brand new ad concepts and creatives tested. Now, if you add to the fact that we make at least 3 variations per every single one of these creatives, that's like pretty much 20 ads launched every single week. So it was pretty good creative volume for a client like this one. We really had to to crank things up, if you want, to be able to ramp this client up in time for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Now, that leaves us with a 29.23% hit rate. So pretty happy about that. What we try and aim for as an agency is a 20% hit rate. What do I mean by hit rate? That essentially is how many ads that we launched versus how many ads that became winning ads that were scalable within KPI at a decent level of ad spend. And therefore here, it pretty much means that almost 1 out of 3 ads that we launched on the account became good winning ads. So again, something very happy to see about. And it's good because a lot of our first creatives that we had launched won. Why? Our theory around that is, I mean, we could sit here and say, hey, we're great at making creatives from the get-go. Probably, maybe, who knows? But more specifically, this client again was kind of rolling with the same ad creatives for pretty much all summer. So they were due for a creative refresh. He had seen creative started to slowly die down. So us coming out with just new creatives probably just revived essentially some of that market out there. So again, it's definitely helped play in our favor at the start, but consistently through time, you can see essentially that we had specific concepts come out of the blue and work great. What I think is also great is the fact that this client has multiple SKUs, but we focused mainly on 2. One is naturopathy and the other one is actually art therapy, which are different master classes that this client has. We cracked naturopathy first. So let me show you a little bit about that for the get-go. So if I look into, let's say, September to October, if I show your top campaigns, like the first one definitely was this naturopathy campaign. Spent $24,000 on it at a 2.25 ROAS, where we were struggling when it came to art therapy right here. So essentially we were struggling. When I say that again, it was a 1.96, and you can see ad spend was much lower. So much lower ad spend at a lower ROAS. We were just unable to scale that. Initially, we didn't have the creatives, quite frankly, with you. Most of our initial creatives that ended up becoming winners were for the naturopathy campaign. And now throughout this partnership, we had a few quite successful ads, but honestly, we had one that really outperformed most of it, which is a pretty simplistic ad. And it's also the ad, in fact, I believe it is the ad that the client mentioned in the portion that he shared at the start of this video, that he also was able to scale on his own account. But we had an ad spend $44,000 in the last 3 months at a 1.96 ROAS. We had a distant second, I'll put it that way, at about $26,000 in ad spend with 2.27. And then we had a few more right here at about the $3,000 to $5,000 range is where I would say a lot of our ads ended up sticking at. And so if we look into this ad right here, first of all, you can see the engagement with it is through the roof, 455 comments, 482 shares with it. So again, this is an ad that had a lot of engagement with it. Now, this ad is very product aware by nature. We launched this ad because again, this was the most popular course of this said client. That being said, we just included everything that makes a product aware ad a good product aware ad, which you just add as much social proof and credibility for this said product. So right here, we have urgency with the discount. We have essentially social proof, if you want, with the 7,000 plus reviews that we have right there. So very simplistic ad by nature. But the beauty with it though is also when you look to the copy is a little bit more work with it, although it's a product aware copy, meaning that at the start, essentially, it shouts out the name of the product in itself, which you would typically do only if you have a product aware type of ad. We're going into essentially the value and adding to how much valuable this said product was by talking about the review here. So I can't believe how much valuable content I got for the price. Not only do I feel better from understanding my own body and how to heal, but I can also advise my friends and family with natural remedies. What I love most about the course is that I could do it at my own pace, 100% online. So again, I feel like this checks all the boxes for a perfect product aware ad, because there's social proof, there's urgency. We can see how complete this said product is and all the inclusions you would get. So it's a great product aware ad is an ad that you can stack, again, as much social proof you can get from it, which is what we did right here. Now, moving on to the second ad that we had here as a winner. I'm really not gonna spend too much time on it. It's quite self-explanatory. We spent $26,000 on this ad, and it's actually our Black Friday sale ad. Very generic, all about the courses and stuff. So again, I don't feel like there's anything crazy about the said ad. Moving on to the third one that we would have right here. This one's a little different, actually. If I actually look into my research center, we're talking here to a slightly different persona than our ad number 3. We're talking in a solution-aware awareness level right here. And again, this was counted on our end as a winning ad. If I preview this ad, you can see, I mean, it's a little small right here, but this was like an Apple Notes type of ad with a lot more text with it. The headline or the hook was how I went from health enthusiast to naturopathy practitioner in 6 months. And we're kind of talking about the timeline of everything that this said person or fictitious person did in order to do that. So that being said, again, a little bit more research with this ad, harder ad in order to craft in a product aware ad. So that was that for this ad number 3. And to kind of wrap things up here again, because I've just showed the results that we've got in here. I've showed just a few creatives essentially that we made for this client amongst the 80 plus that we tested. What are the kind of lessons that you can get out of this is that what I'm typically showing on YouTube works from a fundamental analysis standpoint, meaning I call this process fundamental analysis. Meaning you have fundamental pillars behind the logic of every single ad creative that you make. You come up with a persona in mind. You have a very specific awareness level. So the persona is your who, the market desire is the what you are talking to them about. Awareness level is how you're positioning your message, how you're talking to them. Same thing or very similar essentially when it comes to sophistication stage. That's part of the how of the messaging. We also track on our side of whether or not those were static or video ads. Funnily enough, so far, again, at least for this client, a lot of static ads have just performed great, which again is good news. The reason I say this is good news is again, it's somewhat faster to output static ads and also easier to translate in different languages, markets, countries, and so on and so forth. And so I highly encourage you as a viewer to again, go through the channel, go through other videos I have breaking down this said creative process. Cause I'm like on an account like this, every single ad set that we had was broad targeting. Nothing had any interest. Nothing had any lookalikes. It was all purely broad targeting. So that being said, the pressure was put purely at the creative level. What made or broke one of those ads was purely the creative level. There wasn't any questions about the audience or so on and so forth. So that said, that's why I emphasize this so much on the channel, and that's where we put most of our focus as an ad agency. And so if you made it this far in this video and you are an e-commerce brand or info product business wanting to work with a paid ads partner on Meta, Google, and or TikTok, click the first link in the description down below to book in a call with myself and the team at paidadvertising.com. Now, with that being said, if you want to work with myself and my team on a one-on-one basis, just with consulting, so you don't want us to do it for you, but you want us to work with you and to offer you calls, texts, so on and so forth to review your ads, business funnel, name it. Click the second link in the description down below to join my Ad Engine one-on-one consulting program. Again, check out other videos on the channel going more in depth about our techniques and processes that led up to a case study like this one from this video. And I'll be speaking to you in the next one. Peace.